Hi everyone, George here, and I'm a little bit bored with the things I've been dealing with, and I kind of want to get a new animatronic in the world, so I decided to come back to my version of Foxy, and let's see what happens. Make this something interesting looking, right? And it looks like I got some weirdness going on here. I guess some asymmetric design, something like that. Just see what happens when I smooth things. Now, I'm not going to smooth things this far with the actual final animatronic. I'm just trying to get an idea of what it's going to actually look like. And I can see a lot of stuff that I do not like already. What is that? I'm guessing that's a joint that I was going to use that has something to do with this. But let's just start diving into this thing and get a general sense of what I want to do with it. Let's see, this tail looks horrible. That's for sure. And let's just see what I was dealing with there. Still looks bad. The legs also look bad. I kind of want to cut into this thing and make it look a lot more interesting. So let's just, why don't we just do it? Vertex mode, I'm going to 2 mode so I can see what happens when I'm moving stuff around. I'm just going to start playing with verts. That's all I can say, is that I'm going to grab things, move them around, see what happens. Now the front doesn't have, the front has a lot of space to work with, but the back doesn't. And when you think about it, the back of your leg is the part of the leg that really needs less flesh or area, because it's going to be pulling together on that part. Whereas the front of the leg really needs more of it. So I got to kind of be careful with what I do here. Otherwise, it's going to look wrong. Let's go ahead and pull it out. Foxy's got some mean quads. That's what I'm going to say here. Pull these out as well. Foxy is quite the sprinter. I'm going to go ahead and actually cut away, I think, the inside of this, delete, so that it's visible. But the idea behind this is, oops, no, delete, there we go. The idea behind this is I want the, what do you want to call it, endoskeleton, the inside of it to actually be visible. Now we can see we have a problem there. I didn't grab the inside of it, so let's go ahead and grab these elements, start deleting things and making it a little bit easier for us to work. Hold on a second. Oh, you know what? Let's delete that as well. Now we've got those parts done. I'm going to grab you. Let's go to 1 mode and see what we're dealing with. And you can see how horribly twisted our vertices are at the moment. Now with that information, it's almost to the point where I'm willing to gut a lot of this just to get it to look right. So look at that. I don't even know what's happening with those. So if I hit 3 mode, there's the inside and there's the outside. Let's go back to 1 mode and polygon mode, that is, and try to figure out what's happening here and fix it a little bit. So I've got nothing. Let's get rid of the inside of this, I think. That's the first thing we should probably do, because it's not helping us at all. If anything, we should extrude what we have already inwards and use that as an inside. So let's go ahead and nuke all of this, and probably, where are you? Center point, there we go, delete you as well. And continuing to come around, we've got some nasty, nasty garbage coming up here. Is there any way I can double click and select the whole thing as one giant unit? Yes, delete. All right, so there we go. So that comes around. Oh, geez, that's just bad. Okay, shift right click, face mode. Delete all of you again. Delete all of you as well. I'm going to get rid of that because the geometry is absolutely horrendous. And we don't need to worry about UVs at the moment. So let's go to edge, grab you. Let's go to bridge, close that off. Now the bottom's still bad. So let's grab this element here, delete that as well. And let's now take a look at what this seems to be like here. Now, with quads, you've got, a main muscle, and then you got it kind of halfway coming over here and pulling out. So we're going to need some detail if we want to include that. I don't know if I want to go that far with this character and actually introduce that kind of geometry into it, or maybe it's something we should be dealing with inside of ZBrush. That might be the better case for us. So we can grab the entire, let's just grab the whole thing right there. Go to 1 mode, shift right click, extrude, and I'm going to pull these. You can see by pulling them inwards, I'm actually getting the opposite of what I want. So I'm going to pull them outwards, and we should now get what we want, which is an internal and external portion to this. Now, you can see a bit of a problem. There's not a whole lot to this rod going down into this area. So we're kind of missing out on a lot of interesting stuff. Let's go back to one mode really quick. Shift right click, go to insert edge loop tool, and I'm going to insert edge loop tools, insert edges in the, let's see, relative distance from edge. We're going to do that on this edge. We're going to do this on that edge as well, with the intent of that making it so that this becomes a lot thicker at those points. Now we're also going to do the same thing going across the top and across the bottom. And that way, things sticking out. There we are, much better. Okay, so we need to create something interesting going on inside of here, some sort of hydraulic muscle maybe. And I'm trying to think, what should we base that off of? And that would probably be some sort of a cylinder. We could do that, or we could assume that these characters are more adaptive. That is, they're created with more current technology. I don't know what we want to do. So I'm just going to go with, hey, let's say it's new technology. Let's go with multi-cut. Let's say this is a little bit more in the future than the past. So let's go ahead and I want to shrink down some parts of this that I want to sort of become muscle for me. So these are the ends of the muscle, and these parts at the top and the bottom are the ligaments. And I'm going to create another muscle there, and it's working with curvature. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to go to 3 mode. You can see kind of what's going on here if I were to flatten it out. So there's my muscle. I'm going to shift right click verts, and let's grab the front of this. I'm going to push one side inward so it's flat, because that would be the expectation. I'm going to go here, shift right click, insert edge loop tool, and we can see some of the problems going on there. I missed a bit, so I'm going to go 1 key, grab this vert, and move it back as well. Maybe right there. F8 twice, shift right click, insert edge loop tool, and put it somewhere in the center. And I want to grab this part. I'm going to push that in a slight bit. And I'm going to grab this one though, and I'm going to push that one in a lot more. Now I am going to need more edges to define that region, so let's go ahead and do, let's see, that's not what I want. I want this, thank you. And it's not letting me do anything. What's the problem? There we go. There we are, there's 1, and there's 2. Now that I have those 2 right there, I can make a far more interesting push in right here. You can see right there that that becomes a very pushed in muscle. Let's go back to 1 so I can see what I'm actually doing. And I want to grab the right part of this, which is this one right here. And I'm going to push that in there and go up to the top and do the same thing right there. I'm going to do the same thing up here at the ligaments as well. What I'm saying are the ligaments. You can call it whatever you want to. Push these back as well. I want them to be kind of flush with what we're dealing with. Hit the 3 key, and now we've got our muscle that we're working with. Okay, let's hit the F8 key, save, and what? In FNAF, these things are actually more like coils. So when we actually get to the texturing stage, you might want to put some sort of metallic thing going on. I'm going to duplicate this, move one of them off, grab this one, and just rotate it into position. I'm just going to freeform this a bit, and we're going to stretch the points to make them work out a little bit better. And maybe back here, so that it inserts more into the ball, right there. And I'm going to rotate it a little bit. And now we just got to kind of wing it at this point, I think. And this part is way too big, so we will have to play with that. I'm going to go to 1 mode on this, grab the back end, pull that in. There's no reason for it to be so far out there. Push that in a little bit. Grab all you, push you in. Let's go to 2 and grab all of this and push that in as well. Let's scale it together a little bit. And now I'm going to grab all the bottom bits, and we're going to push them in and up, I think, somewhere around there. And we're going to rotate it in mass, so maybe right there along the camera's coordinates, which are going to be right there. And yes, I'm doing some nasty things, potentially, but it doesn't matter as much as far as I'm concerned. That's going to be what we have. I'm going to take you now, and in camera space, I'm going to move it down a little bit. And there we go. So now we've got kind of this weird looking muscle that's going to take up a lot of space. And this, though, I want to be tapered inwards. So maybe covering it up a little bit more. Same thing is going to happen for all of these elements as well, and probably these elements. So we're going to make Foxy a bit thinner. He's too thick. Foxy needs to be a lean beast that hunts you down. And that's what I'm going for here. So we can see I made a little bit of a mistake there. I want to pull that maybe out a little bit. Maybe down and out. Same thing up here. I can push that in though. And it looks like we're covering it up pretty well. We might want to change this part. Unselect that. Grab this part and move it up as well. Hit 3 on that. So there's what we have going on there. I kind of almost want to pull these out in a way, really. So let's grab this, move that down. I want it to have free movement. So I'm thinking this part is really bad. I shouldn't have it so high up. It should be much further down. So let's do something like this. These parts need to get moved downward so it has full movement. Now, these ones, though, I think I can get away with pulling up a little bit. I have no problem with it being asymmetrical. I really don't care. What I do care about is a little bit more of how it looks. Okay, Foxy's definitely getting toned down a bit. We can still see some of the stuff. We need these muscles in the front as well. So let's grab our muscle, our temp muscle, and I want to duplicate it, rotate it around. And we're going to make this into more of a quad set. So let's go to 180. I don't have great anatomy understanding, but I do know enough that I understand the basic muscles and their concepts, and that's what I'm going to be working with here. So if you have a much better understanding of anatomy than I do, you're probably going to question some of the things that I'm going to be doing. And if you don't have a better version of anatomy than me, then hopefully you learn a few little tricks here and there that anyone, even someone who doesn't really know what they're doing, will be able to use. So I'm going to grab these ones here, and I want this to be pulled up because I want to expose the muscle on the underside. Same thing with this one. I'm going to grab this one now and actually pull it down. The idea being that the muscle is going to come out to this kneecap, which I'm going to hit and smooth down right there. Okay, so muscle. You are the muscle, but the muscle in the thigh, at least with the quads, is a bit different. It should be a two-parter. So it's got a top muscle and then a smaller underlying muscle. So let's duplicate this and push this one back. And I'm going to scale this one down, but stretch it out and kind of rotate it over. And we're going to have to play with this one a little bit to make it work. So don't expect it to be perfect right off the bat. So we're going to do this, and now let's begin to play. So I'm going to rotate things, and I'm going to probably be working in camera space a little bit here and there. So don't get too offended if things start freaking out. Wow, that is really freaking out. That's not what I want at all. Okay, there we go. I'm going to freeform it. Let's do that. Yes, you should not probably do this, because unless you look at it from all sides, you're probably going to mess things up. So word to the wise, don't do this just because you're seeing me do it, because I'm probably going to screw it up and go back in time. So here we go. Let's go back. That is undo. Okay, so that's going to go up in there. Now this part I want to probably come in. Right? So I want this to come inwards. I'm going to want this to come down and under. We don't need all of this time, so I can probably get rid of a few things. So that I can get rid of. And let's grab all of you, and F8, actually. There we go. Grab all of you, and I'm going to push you down and in, and back. Somewhere like that. Same thing with the rest of it. I have no idea what's going to happen when I rig this thing, so I'm just trying something new. Kind of wanted to get this stuff in there to make it look a little bit more interesting than just some Chuck E. Cheese-esque wires and so forth. I'm going to go to one mode, see how badly these are deformed. You can see that right there. That's pretty horrible. So let's grab these elements in the back, whoops, and bring them forward so that everything's kind of together again. I'm going to go back to 3 mode and see what we have. And we can see some of the bad distortions we still have retained. I'm going to grab these elements here, pull them forward so we thicken the whole muscle out. And now that I've done that, actually, what are you? I'll move you as well. Just kind of moving the whole thing forward a little bit, I think. And that's the idea, is that this is going to go kind of around the kneecap. At least in my head, that's the feeling. It's probably not truthfully what should be happening. I'm going to rotate this, like, just freeform it again. And move that downwards a little bit. There we are. We can see a little bit of a problem we're already running into with this edge. So let's come sideways on that edge. Move that maybe down. All right, let's go to one mode, grab some of these, and fix them as we see them. We can see some intersection. You don't want that to happen. So this bit has a vert somewhere up here that's going into the mesh where it should not. There we are. Let's hit 2 now. Better. At least we've handled some of the bad stuff going on. I'm going to grab all of it in one lump sum. Move it forward. Grab the top of this, actually move it forward. Grab the bottom now. Move it a little bit backwards. Kind of like they're twisting on each other. Okay, so now that we've got a basic shape, let's go ahead and move it into position so I know what I'm working with. So this goes in the front. I am going to shrink it down a little bit. And let's go to X-ray mode. Now this is going to get complicated real quick with how things look. So even I might have I'm probably going to have a big issue looking at it. But let's see. Let's hide. Let's just get this part looking interesting to begin with. So that's the back muscle. This is the forward muscle. I'm going to take both muscles. I'm going to move them out. And let's get them to wrap kind of around this kneecap in an interesting way. So verts, we're going to grab all of you. We're going to go to 1 key. And I'm going to, based on this only, begin making things look good. Because I don't want to rely on the smooth part, because I'm potentially going to get geometry that's really funky. So let's move you there and you back over here. See this? Yeah, see that back end right there? That's not so good. I don't like that. So I'm going to grab it, move it forward, and grab this one and move it forward as well. Now we've got that bit coming way out. I'll push it forward, and then we've got this one is probably somewhere around there for the big divide between the two, right? Now let's see what happens if we go to 2. We can see what's happening there. The good news is that I've got more control and that I can actually start manipulating this thing to wrap around the knee a little bit better. So let's just do something like this and push that over maybe, and grab you, push you down there, push you down there, maybe back a little bit so it kind of wraps completely around the area. Now this is not how the knee works. These things go under the knee, and the knee itself has stuff that goes over top of it, if I remember correctly. I had to do a project for the HoloLens where we had to do knee reconstructive surgery, where we displayed videos of it. So unfortunately, I'm a lot more familiar than I like to be with the internal anatomy of the kneecap. It was kind of gross. Anyway, now that we've got that together, let's display. What do we want to display? I have not named a damn thing. Display, show all. That's bad. That means I'm going to have to dedicate like an entire video to this thing looking good. Or not looking good, but being named properly. Let's go to 1 key mode and just start 2's fine for right now, and start trying to make this thing work a little bit. Let's go to X-ray mode. Ugh, okay. I mean, this is going to be. So that's that. You need to come out, I think. I think I need to turn X-ray mode back off now. Okay. Now the fronts are kind of nasty. Now we can go in here and use saw selection if we want to. I'm not feeling like I have to at this moment. So we've got that coming out. So he's got some quads, that's for sure. I almost feel like it might be a good idea then to pull the back end in and to reveal more of the hamstring. That way there's less of the armor making him appear, but you know, the outer stuff making him appear thick. I don't want him to appear thick. I want the character to seem thin. But at the same time, if you're a runner, your legs are going to be big. So maybe something more like that. Okay, maybe out a little bit there. And notice that I'm just playing. I'm just looking to see what in my head looks good, or what I envision this to look good. I'm not going off any reference. I'm not doing much of anything really. Let's see. That's a problem if he wants to raise up his leg. So we should probably move that in and down. Okay, let's move that out a little bit. And then what controls this stuff down here? It's going to be something right there. U, and then something right there, right? Didn't select it. So that, unselect anything around it. Let's bring this out and cover that. Maybe up a little bit as well. And this part is also, let's have it follow kind of what's going on there. I don't know, do we sweep it out? Do we make it seem kind of, I don't know. We could do some interesting stuff with the design for this guy, that's for sure. But right now I'm just looking at the, see how the curve is counter to that curve that goes up? Don't know if I like that yet. Not sure. All right, so I pulled that out. I'm going to grab all of this, unselect everything on the other side. I am going to pull that down and out a little bit. So it comes up and sweeps outwards, I guess. Something like that. I'm going to do the same thing for at least this bit here. That goes there. I'm wondering if I sweep these two upwards and over. Not all of it, just that bit. So what I'm going for is the flow. See that part right there? How it flows up? Now this part doesn't flow up. And that's why I don't think I like it. It flows down instead. But you can always have a counter flow if you want to. Let's grab all of this, just kind of move it in, and we can start to see some of the problems. So I don't want that. I do want to move this in, and I think I even want to potentially rotate the whole thing a little bit as I move it in. So let's just see what stuff looks like. There's not a whole lot going on the outside of this, which is kind of disappointing. I kind of think I need to insert some edge loops in here and here, and then make some more definition, especially with this edge right there. Just kind of pull it in like that. So it's definitely, so let's see what we were dealing with before. I like that there's stuff inside. I like that it's more open as well. Let's go back to 1. I guess I already beveled those edges, so that's not happening without some major changes. So let's see, there's the knee area, there's the cap. Guess I could always push the cap in a little bit. Nope, that's kind of screwing things up, isn't it? What I should do is push this in a little bit. This part. Okay, now we can grab this element and maybe push that down and in over there. Oh, and look at that. That got messed up, so we're not even on the ball anymore. So let's move that maybe back a little bit. Great. Okay, so there's the Foxy leg bit that we can work with, and then we need to do the rest of it. I am kind of liking the open back idea right now, so I think I want to continue to run with that a little bit. And so let's go to one key. I mean, look how nasty that stuff is. Let's first grab the top and delete that. Let's grab the bottom, delete that. And now let's start dealing with stuff looking like junk. So I'm going to take a top view, come down, try to manage it as best I can. I think I want to keep this part. The rest of it I want to get rid of, especially all the inside stuff. Okay, a little bit better. So if I hit the 3 key, that's what we were dealing with. Once again, though, not quite pretty. So we're going to grab everything, I think, and move it up and over. And I'm definitely going to want to bring all of this. I almost want this to be a counter curve, or that is, this comes up and out. I don't even know if I want. Trying to think what would be cool looking. Just playing, just playing. I don't have a lot to say when I'm playing. It's just I'm playing with stuff. You know, it's my aesthetic. It's just what I like. You don't like it, you do it differently. If you're following this. Yeah. I'm liking that a lot more already. I like how thin it is and how thick it is at the top. I gotta put those muscles in there as well. Right around this whole thing. Okay. Let's grab our muscle here and let's duplicate it, rotate it around itself at, what do we want? Oops. Something like that. Let's do 180. Now let's duplicate the original, this muscle, and put it off to the side so I don't mess with these, you know, I don't completely destroy everything I have. We are going to move this to the side of this for the moment. I'm just going to start getting things kind of positioned lightly before I do anything else. So let's move you kind of over and down, I think. These parts are going to need to come way up and over, and the thickness needs to be addressed. And that should really happen up here. Okay. Let's do the same thing for the back, although the back's going to definitely be more interesting. I want it to be thicker, where it comes in, and I'm going to move it up higher, like right around there. And this part, I also want to be thin. I also want to move up higher. And I'm probably going to insert an edge loop somewhere down here, like that. Very nice. I can grab both of these and kind of move them into position. Widen that a little bit. Probably push it back out. Grab the front part of this. Start grabbing parts of it. And let's grab this front part. Move it down. Grab these parts here. Maybe move them out a little bit. So the verts, so you know, the meshes aren't quite on top of each other as much as they are right now. Now I'm probably going to actually delete that entire edge right there. No reason to have it. There we go. Probably going to run with that. I mean, really, I don't even know if it's a requirement to have that front muscle, but I do need something coming out of the bottom. So I want to keep it for the moment. Grab both of them, and let's just kind of start putting things into place, which is going to be a giant mess, isn't it? Yeah, you can see the giant mess we're running into right there. Okay, well, let's dive into a mess. So you are too thick. I'm going to narrow you down. You are too high. Both of you are too high. So let's start sliding you down, as well as the big part of you. There we go. Stick that in there. Got it in there. Grab with the top of this, I think. Scale that in a bit and rotate it maybe so that it kind of cups the joint. And then I also want to grab the ends of this and bring them up so it's also grasping the joint as well. I think. See if it looks right. If it looks right, then we're good. Doesn't look right, well, it's artistic interpretation. Okay, there we go. And we need to move this whole thing over to fit inside of that. And I'm going to do this up here. Whoops. Let's grab all of it, please. Move it up here and then back. And then really, the back of this should go straight down and wrap around the front of this. So I'm going to grab all of this and actually push it in, because that becomes what ends up grabbing that whole part. I'm actually going to need to pull it out a little bit too. There we are. Now I'm going to go back to the outer part of this thing and begin tweaking it a little bit so that it will fit the muscle. Muscle doesn't have to conform to everything. At some point, it's probably a good idea to make this conform a little bit to the muscle. Plus, it might give me some better, interesting shapes. The front muscle's still messed up, but that's not what I'm working with at the moment. So let's do this. Grab these back pieces and extend the shell down and out. Same thing back here. Whoops. Like that. Now the shell doesn't have an inside yet, so I got to remember that before I get too involved here, because I forgot, and that could screw me up. Do I not have, looks like I have nothing I can work with other than these points right here, unless I add a new point. So I got to be careful. Okay, so now for that front part. F8, save. Okay, first thing we need to do is actually rotate this whole thing in and kind of stick it where it needs to go. Then I'm going to flatten it a bit because it's way too big, and we're just going to generally scale the whole thing in. I'm trying to think of, at this point, how much do I really need? I need the tops, so let's go to 2. I need the top points to kind of go over and grip. So we're going to do this. I'm not going to need this, so we're going to get rid of that. and I need the bottom. So that's the whole muscle. So now I don't need to worry about nearly as much. So let's make this work. Verts. Oops. There we go. So you, verts, go along. They're going to go up and in and down. You over here, I'm going to go kind of down and over, I guess, something like that. And now I need something to work with somewhere else. So pull it out a bit, maybe, like that. Let's grab all of this, pull it in from that side. And I am very tempted now to take this and pull it up, grab these two parts, and pull, whoops, that's not what I wanted. These two parts, nothing else. Pull them up so that we get the muscle, and we can then connect it where we need it to be, which is going to be to each side. So let's grab this part and fan it out there. Grab the other side of it, fan it out over there. Hit the 1 key, grab the backs of this thing, and I am going to push them outwards, I think. Back to 3, something like that. Although that's not perfect, is it? Whoops. Okay. Up. In. And verts. Grab the bottom ones again. Put them up maybe a little bit. And then we're probably going to need to do something here at some point to make this part work. I'm not worried about it just yet, though. All the muscles kind of creep in on top of each other at this point. There we go. Okay, I'm okay with that for the moment. Should work out fine for us. We're going to need some interesting stuff going on here, and wires. So there's one leg finished compared to the other leg we had before. Now we're up to about 40 minutes on this video, so I am going to stop it, and we will come back to Foxy next time. All right? Hope you enjoyed watching this, and I hope you want to see more content in the future. Hope you enjoyed watching this. I'll see you next time. So long, goodbye.